the great Maharishis and Tapasvis have found many methods in order to make people understand about the importance of the purpose of life, so that the Jivatma doesn't waste their life engaging themselves into false notions and false activities. It is with that purpose that the Shruti that has been heard by the Maharishis, they have transcribed them into various Shastras and Kritis. And the 36 Puranas, what we said about 18 Mahapuranas and 18 other Puranas are also to express them in a different way, because Vedas and Upanishads are basically on sutras and the absolute knowledge, where quite possible some may not get into the facts of it, so they may not be in a position to understand those days, is how they have divided them into Puranas also. So when they made into Puranas, lots of paraphernalia, lots of other matters had to be incorporated in order to make one small substance into the common man's understanding. So you will find the Samvada of Lord Bhagavan Krishna and Uddhava is one of them, like that, you see. Through this Samvada, we take the, now it is told that it is instruction from the Lord. So automatically what happens, the human mind is inclined to listen to that and also to follow that. So the main Shastras and Tattvas have been divided into small fractions in Puranas. Whereas in Vedas, the rich sutra, one sutra has been told, which may be equivalent to a number of Shastras that can be created out of it. This is how these have been created. So we said in the last shloka that the Chandravamsha, starting from Yayati, we have great valiant kings, Yadu, and then there were very powerful descendants were there, 6 or 8 of them. The last one was Shantanu. Then we can also call Bhishma as also the last link of the Chandravamsha. Because after that, the Chandravamsha did not exist. It was Satyavati's Putras, and the Putras were, you know that, 2 sons. They died of great disease, and one fighting the war. Bhishma has brought those Ambika and Ambalika. Ambika. Amba goes away. Amba is the one who becomes the after number of births. So Ambika and Ambalika are left, and they were married to these sick people, and as soon as they married, these two are passed away. So Satyavati prayed to her guru, and it actually he is also son of Satyavati in one of the Janmas, and so Vedavyasa appears there, and with the boon they give the sons of Dhritarashtra, Pandu, and then Vidura in the Sakhi in the sense they are you can say now, their servant or whatever it is, the Ranis. So that is no more Chandravamsha. Chandravamsha is finished with the actually. So that is why one argument was there that in any case the kingdom did not belong to Dhritarashtra. And Duryodhana was fighting on the kingdom has been given from the Chandravamsha, which is not, you see, they are only the caretakers, they are not supposed to do it. Even though, according to rules, Pandu is also not eligible. But in circumstances, the only eligibility was Pandus. It goes like that. So this is Chandravamsha. Okay. This Yadu becomes one of the powerful person. He found one Avadhuta, one young Brahman, Avadhuta. Avadhuta is very young and he is very knowledgeable. And he was fearlessly roaming the world. The specification of fearlessly has been incorporated. Avadhutan Kvanchit Kuto Bhayam. Without any bhaya, because a knowledgeable person doesn't have any bhaya of what is a bhaya for? What is a fear? The fear is always for losing something. That's called the fear. The fear comes only because of the resistance to lose something is bhayam. For an Avadhuta who is a knowledgeable person, he doesn't lose anything, he cannot lose anything. Therefore the bhaya is not there for him. This is why, such words have been incorporated. With bhayam, everybody understands, common man. Everybody has got bhayam. But why there is bhayam, they do not understand. They say bhayam with the animals, bhaya of losing life, bhaya of dying, bhaya of getting hurt, bhaya of losing something. Everything, when you calculate, when you see, look at the end of it, bhaya or the fear is only based on the loss that you are scared or you are reluctant to face with. You see, that's the reason why you are got scared, what you fear. Why should one fear? You are not brought anything with you to lose. This is what one should understand. Nirbhayata. So, the Avadhuta says, I have not brought anything with me in order to lose. Even this body is given by somebody else. Prana is some Lord has given the prana. I am executing certain karmas as directed by him. I am only a medium, like I also say that, you see. It's all done by a power. It's all done by the Brahman. But I am only the medium. Like the wind blows. Wind blowing is a result of due to some other action which is done by the Brahman, which is done by the energy, which is the power. The water flows because of some other reason. Water has nothing to do, it is just flowing, that's all. It has no effort that it has put to flow. Did the river put any effort in order to flow? No. It flows. Why? There is you can call it as gravity, you can call it as flow, you can call it as density, lower, everything you can call. They are all the results. It's not the basis. It's not the river who has created the flow. The flow happens because of something else. How this slope has been created, how this has been created, from where water has been created, everything becomes that power. So Avadhutam. Avadhuta has also been qualified here. Avadhutam dvajam kinchit charandamakuto bhayam kavim nirishya varunam yaduhu prapacha dharmavit. This Yadu wanted to extract the things from the Avadhuta. So he was putting words into his mouth, in fact, practically. Hey Avadhuta, How are you walking so fearlessly? And who is it, Avduta? Hey Avduta, you are Dvija. You know Dvija. What is Dvija? What is Dvija? Dvija Brahmana, I have told earlier. Dvija Brahmana. The one who is born twice is Dvija Brahmana. Who are Dvija Brahmana? One, not the Brahmana who is putting this one, not the one who is identifying the Brahman. The one who is born is the birth of the human, one birth. After being born, the second birth is that identification, going into sannyasa. The second birth is that identification of the Brahman or identification of the truth. When the identification of the truth becomes the priority and the prime, the birth that has been born, which was not at all significant, which is of a sharira and the mana, dies, is Dvija Brahmana. So, Avadhudam Dvijam, it's a qualification. Hey Dvija means he is a great personality who has identified the Brahman, is the meaning of it. Hey Dvija. There are words in the Puranas qualifying him, addressing somebody as Dvija. Hey Dvija Brahmana. The one who is identifying the Brahman in the second, the birth of in the same life. So, Avadhuta Dvijam, Avadhuta himself, he doesn't have any desires, he doesn't have any binding, he doesn't have any reluctance, he doesn't have a consciousness of the Sharira being existing there, so he doesn't take care of the Sharira, and he is a Dvija Brahmana, and then he is fearless. Naturally, Dvija means again fearless need not be told, but it's a qualification added to that, specifying him. How are you roaming around fearlessly? Kavim niricha tarunam yaduhu prapacha dharma vithe Bhagavan. Who is Yadu? Yadu, who is well versed in dharma with. He himself is a great dharma raja. He himself is a great dharmi. Dharmic way of living. Such a dharma raja who is asking the Avadhuta, who is a Dvija, who is fearless about dharma. Hey Bhagavan, tell me the dharma. What is the meaning of that? Why? How are you fearlessly roaming around in the world? Hey Dvija means what? But this I literally translated the sentence. The meaning of that is what? Hey Bhagavan, tell me the dharma of living. Is the meaning of it. When he is asking how you are roaming around fearlessly, hey Dvija, you are a Avadhuta, even being an Avadhuta, without going itself you can do everything, but you are still going around. That means, please tell me about the dharma, a knowledgeable person. That's all. Hey knowledgeable, hey great jnani, let me know the dharma jnanam, how to live, is what he is asking. The beneficial for the people again. So it is something like that. Then Yaduru Vacha. Then Yadu further says that Kuto Buddhiriyam. No. The shloka goes on like that. Hey Brahman, free from actions as you are. There are no actions. Buddhiriyam Brahmanata Kartum Suvisharadaha Sama Sadhya Bhavam Lokam Vidwam Sharadi Balavat. Hey Brahman in the sense, hey Brahmajnani, free from actions as you are. Whence have you got this excellent discernment, attaining, which you roam over the world like a child? Although you are a sage, you don't have to walk around, but we are a sage. What is in a city? Prayo dharmarya gamesho Vigitsayam chamanava kaitunyama samihanto vaisho vishasashriya. Most often men exert themselves. People who go around, they all go around for what? Prayo means practically. Prayo dharmartha kameshu. People are walking around for dharmartha kama, virtue, wealth, desire, vitsayam, inquiry of the chamanavaha, also about the Atman, that too is the motive of gaining longevity of life. Yes. Ayusho Yashasah Shrayah. For all these people who roam around, Ayush, Yashas, Kirti, and also for the Shriya. For all these things only, people are roaming around. But for you, as a saint, what is the necessity of it? So see how the explanations why I told you the introduction, they are explaining now. Even though this Samvada was there or not, in this manner, we do not know. But it has been told. So in this explanation, so he has told that, look, for a sage or for a man who is a Dvija Brahmana or for a person who is a really knowledgeable person who has got a jnani, for him, all these are not necessary. This is what ultimately one understands, that Dharma Artha Kameshu Vivitsayam Chamanavaha Haitunyeva Samihante Ayusho Yasasa Shriya. These are all not meant for what will it give to your life. You got Shreyas for some time. Will it give the satisfactory life? You got some wealth for some time. Will it give satisfactory life? Will it give peace in your mind? Or you give Ayush, somebody, long life, somebody wanted. Hey Bhagavan, give me long life. What's the use? That is all not that what is required compared to the plus virtues and wealth, etc., etc., etc. Tvam tu kalpaha kavirdakshaha subhago amrutabhashana nagarta nahase kimchit jadonmata pishachavam. In spite of you being to kalpaha kavirdakshaha, you being able, learned, subhago, amrita bhashana, you are amrita bhashni, you are well spoken man. Amrita bhashanam, the bhashanam which doesn't die, amritam. That means the one which is not a wasteful talk. Amritam that doesn't die. I mean the bhashanam, that which doesn't die means the one which is not a wasteful talk. You talk sense. You talk the jnanam, that which will never die in any of the periods of time. Amrita Vashni, you are Amrita Vashnam. Nagarta, no hase, you do not have that ahankara in you. And such a man, possessed and speech neither work nor exist in the least, as you were so and so, there is nothing. But why do you require all this? You have got all these qualifications. Yes. So that's what it's also meaning, that he is trying to tell that a saint would be like this, a jnani would be like this, is the meaning again, informing us. We have to always relate it to the life, so that then only you can follow the meaning of it and follow the life after this. That's the purpose of knowing it, that we should live according to this, that one should have, being able to, one should be learned. That means one should have the jnanam. Natu kalpaha, kavirdaksha. The daksha should be, the kavirdaksha should be there. And subhagaha and amrita bhashana should be there. Karta should be there. No hase should be there. All that ahankara should not be there. One should have the vani, should be like amritam, that which will never be a waste talk. Amrita vani should be there. That means the one who has got who should acquire absolute jnanam, and they should converse that jnanam in the right manner. In whichever manner it is, that vani that has been transmitted should be useful and beneficial for others. Even if he jokes, it should be beneficial for others. Even if he tells a casual talk, it should be beneficial for others. Even if he sings a song, it should be beneficial for others. It is not a wasteful talk. It's not just like that. Is that what a person has to acquire? Is what who is telling this Avadhuta. Yadu is qualifying. Avadhuta is not telling anything. Yadu is qualifying Avadhuta. You are like this, you are like this, you are like this. That these are all being told by ultimately who? Bhagavan is telling Uddhava. Look, these are all happened. Just as an example, not directly telling him that this is what you should do. The methodology is again, it's a psychological approach. Like we tell, see, it's beautiful. Even today it is being followed. We tell the children, normally old days it was ever practiced, but nowadays I think very rare. Old days every grandmother at home or mother or father at home, before the children are being put into sleep, they will tell a story before they go into the sleep. It is very necessary that fairy tales, what we call, or before going to bed, the grandmother's stories, whatever it is, we may find very small and thing, but the stories are chosen such by intelligent people, by intelligent grandmothers, by intelligent fathers, by intelligent mothers. They chose such stories, like let it be from the Purana, from others and others and all that. They will tell them, even though they will tell them beautifully well that such and such Brahman lived in a village and he did that. Ultimately they will come because he was, story will be long, but ultimately what? Before ending the story, they will tell, why did she tell the story to him? Dekha beta, because of his greed, what happened? He lost everything. See, one sentence, only to make him understand that he will tell the story to the child. You see, this culture was there. This culture was there, and it was absolutely necessary. How? This could have been told to him directly that one should not have greed. It's a literal meaning that one can understand. This can be understood only by a jnani. One should not have a greed. But a man who has already come into the samsara and have got association with the emotions and other way of living, in order to make him understand the jnanam, he has to approach through the emotion only. So a story had to be created. Through a story, that too, he is not directly, grandmother is not directly telling that you should not have greed. She said, there in Mahabhagavata or in such and such, what is it, those comic strips used to be there. Amar Chitra Katha. Things like that. In Amar Chitra Katha, such and such story they have mentioned. I am not telling you that. He doesn't have an ownership. Why? Because you don't know. These are all highly psychological. If grandmother is the authority and grandmother is telling the story, look beta, I am telling you the story, then the value of that will not be there. Why? Because any time and every time the grandmother can be approached by the child. So the availability is always there. The availability and proximity, when it becomes closer, the values reduce. When a person is available for God, suppose Bhagavan is available for everything, today's your bhakti towards God will become less for a normal human being. But whereas tapasvis and jnanis and maharishis and great people, it will increase. It's the other way around, because they know what's the value of it. But for them, he is there, so anytime I can go and talk to Bhagavan Shiva, like Ravan did. Anytime he felt, he went to Kailas, created problem, came back. So one can do that. So child will have human mind, the human mind will have a twist always. The availability is always there. So that should not be felt. So when availability is there, proximity is too close and availability is always there, importance get reduced. So grandmother says, it's not that I am telling, this was told in Amar Chitra Katha, and this was a story told by Bhagavan Shiv to Parvati on such and such incident, watching people from standing on the, heaven or Kailasa. He was looking down and then he saw one Brahman walking, and then How they are all, it's all for the purpose of telling only, that is not, nothing has happened. But why? The importance that has been created in the mind of the child is great. This was witnessed by Bhagavan Shiva. This has happened. So the greed should not be there. If the greed is there, he did not know Bhagavan was watching, or the author is somebody else. This conviction will be there, so that the establishing the factor in him will be much more than I telling the son or grandmother telling the grandchild. But grandmother is a medium to tell that. Then ultimately the gist of the story has been told, look, this is the reason why it is. Now this is to be believed. That is how this will really go into the mind of the child, and he will definitely have it in memory of the child, because childhood these things are necessary, so that it will go into the child's mind and he will always remember himself. That is greed. That is greed. Greed is bad. Even though he might do something about certain things in life, he might do it, but immediately he will always think that greed is bad. This established factor will always remain in him. Is the trick that Bhagavan Krishna applies on Uddhava. Krishna being very close to him, 414 years he lived together with them, and all the facility was there with him to approach him. Uddhava would not take it seriously, even though he is taking it. But Uddhava might not take it seriously, Bhagavan thought. So Bhagavan said, I did not say the king has told the Avadhu, the Yadu, who importance has been given. Who is that? Yadu. Yadu is what? Very ancestral, powerful Yayati's son, who is great, powerful person. He told that. So what happened? The importance has been created there, you see. Situation is very serious. It's not a small stage, small place where it has been presented. We say, this has been presented in international forum, not in Delhi. See, the importance has been increased, even though the subject is same. Same thing. Why I am telling all this, that so that you compare and grade that. So this is how it is told. Why I am also telling all this? Because of that. You see, this Sri Krishna has told, Bhagavan has told. So is how it is. Natu kalpam. See how the way of it. So that people get the real impact on that, and they will take it as a teaching and then follow. The purpose is simple. Depending upon the era, from time to time, these tactics of teaching has to be changed, will be changed, and they are all meant for only one purpose, in whichever manner it has been told. So we should not go by and bound by all those myths. So many people are bound, and they lifelong, some people do even research on why Bhagavatam was taught like that. Why Mahabharatam, somebody says it has been 114 shlokas has been rewritten and added to it. Now his research, that a man has, I'm not joking, a man has researched on that for 25 years, and then he found that even though it has been added to that, it was a beneficial for the purpose of identification of the Sri Krishna's departure. This Sri Krishna departure was an added portion to Mahabharata, where Vidura Samvada has been taken place, you see. So he ultimately, what he found out, okay, it has been added to the original Vedavyasa's Mahabharata. This has been added later on in order to do that. What for? That he could not find out the documentary evidences, but ultimately proved with lot of research on that, been done for 25 years or 30 years, research has been done, and he said that it was necessary for, even though it's an addition, it is necessary for a part of Bhagavatam. Finished. Is it necessary to go for all that? This is what it is. So some people are leaving the subject as it did not understand the Mahabharata study. Find out what is Mahabharata, And from there you extract what is necessary. Instead of doing that, people go into all this and make it a big point and discuss on that and waste the time. Let us not do it, is what my purpose of telling this. This identification of that is all meant for identifying the gunas, identifying what a sage, avaduta, required, meant for, and what is the benefit that the world has to derive from him, is what this has to be understood from him. Not the methodology, whether Yadu has told to the avaduta or someone else, Krishna told Uddhava, everything is fine. But how should I behave? How should I promote myself? How should I get my sachatkaram? How should I get the mukti, moksha, from this cycle of life and death, virtues or the gunas, merits and demerits? Dosha, guna, doshas is what we have to understand. Janeshu, dahyamaneshu, kamalo badavapinana, nattaptase asinna mukte, gangam basta ivandiva. While people are being scorched by the forest fire, dahyamaneshu, dahanam is taking place. And lust, forest fire of what? What is it, forest fire? Forest fire of lust and greed. Janeshu, dahyamaneshu, kamalo badavapinina. Like people getting burned in the forest fire, people in the life, they are getting burned, charred by lust and greed. Nothing other than that. They destroy themselves, they destroy others also. It is like a forest fire, lust and greed. You are not heated by the fire being free from its influence, like an elephant in the midst of Ganga water. What happens? These monkeys will fly away from there, and the elephants, like the elephant and others, they will go in the midst of the water and stand when the forest fire goes on. So same way, hey Uddhava, or hey this one, you Avaduta, you are like that. Avaduta is one in the, that among the crowd, which is a big society. The whole society is burning down with lust and greed. And you, in between, in the midst of them, you are standing alone without getting affected by that fire of lust and greed. Because it is very attractive. Lust and greed are very, very attractive. Very easy to attract anybody into it. One need not even give any examples or explanations for that. You just show the lust, you show the greed, that is good enough. They will get attracted to it. Once they get attracted to it, the fall or burning into that is definite. Whoever comes across that will definitely burn. But you being an avaduta, hey Avaduta, you are among that, but you are not getting affected by that. What is ultimately saying that one should be like that. Among all this, there may be so many things, let it happen. Why that is happening in the world, why can't I do it also? Should not be the question. The question should be, why should I do it? So many things might be happening. Are you supposed to do everything? No. So jnanam is necessary for that. You are like that. Tvam hinaprachudam brahmanatmanya karanam bruhe sparshavinasya bhavada komalatmana. Hey komalatmana. Kevalatmana. Oh Brahman, Tvam, he. Do tell us. Who asked you how you derive him in yourself alone, untouched by the sense objects and living a solitary life? The Sikh, that means Yadu, is asking him, tell me your strength. Who is such a person? Hey, Avadhuta, who is such a person in this world that sparsha vihinasya bhavataha, who is not attracted by the sensual attraction, sensual, what is it?
Pleasure.
Sensual pleasures, you're right. Sensual pleasures, who is not affected by that? You tell me, how are you exempted from that? How is it possible? So, what is that secret? What is that strength in you? You tell me. Is the questions like that he went on pouring to Avadhuta, and Avadhuta kept on replying him on the principle of the Brahmajnanam, Brahmatattvam, Dharma, with all the descriptions have been given to him very satisfactorily, and this is how a person should be living in this universe. Every person is a sannyasi. It is not that a man who is wearing the saffron only is a sannyasi. It is not a person who is sitting on the Himalayas and doing tapasya alone is a sannyasi. No. Starting from the butcher to the vegetable man to the pujari or to the king or to the commander of army, everyone is a sannyasi only. Everyone is looking for the satyam, satyanveshanam. Everyone is looking for the greatest truth in life. Only thing, each one's ways and paths are different. They are not in a position, they are not able to, like this, they did not attain the completeness of a sannyasi. They are in the search of a sannyasi. They are in the path of a sannyasi, but they are sannyasa, but they are not become a sannyasi. The path, the Avadhuta, has already attained those gunas. These are, everyone is trying by their own method, by their own way, whether he is a believer of the Dharma Shastram or not. Everyone is acting upon their own whims and fancies or wills, only for the purpose of identification of the Dharma, nothing other than that. But they fall into the trap of adharmam and mistaking them as dharmam, they fall themselves and they keep on coming in cycles of janana and marana in order to experience the same thing or to come out of that same experiences from again and again. Therefore, Sri Bhagavan Uvacha, at last Bhagavan said, Yadunaivam Mahabhago Brahmanyena Sumaedasa Prishta Samaji Sabhachita Praha Pranaya Vanadam Duja. Being thus asked and honored by the intelligent Yadu, who was devoted to the Brahmins, the noble Brahmana addressed the king, who had bent himself low in reverence. The king, after listening to Avadhuta, Yadu, who himself was a great knowledgeable man of Dharma and Dharma Shastra, he bowed down his head to Avadhuta. No doubt you are Vandaniya. There is no doubt you are Vandaniya. I prostrate in front of you and did his puja, Pada puja, and then after that Brahmana with great reverence and Brahmana puja, Brahmana Uvacha. After that the Brahmana said, Brahmana means this Avadhuta. Hey Yadu, I have many teachers. You must have heard about the 24 teachers. Dattatreya. The Dattatreya, who was born wished by the grace of Mahavishnu, Shiv and the Brahma, because of some prayer by the Maharishi Patni, said, I want all the three of them. So the three of them were joined together and went into the Bruna of that lady. And she delivered the child as Dattatreya. That's why he has got 3 heads. That's why it is known as Dattatreya. Treya, Datta. He said, he went around the world. He is an Avadhuta. He becomes a sannyasi. He goes around the world. He found how he studied. Here, what happens? He has got teachers, he said. He has learned from the teachers. There is difference between the teacher and others. I have many teachers, O king, whom I have resorted through the intellect, receiving wisdom from whom I roam the earth at large. Listen who they are. I will tell you who they are, and from whom I have learned these lessons so that I could follow that in my life. So this in 24 the teachers have been explained in the Shastras, here also in Bhagavata also. Who are the teachers? Prithvi, Vayurakasho, Apo, Agni Chandrama, Ravihi, Kapoto, Ajagara, Sindhu, Padango, Matu Kruddha Jaha, Madhuha, Harino, Manihi, Pingala, Kuraro, Armakaha, Kumari, Sharagrat Sarpa, Urnanabi, Sube, Shagrde. These are the 24 of them. Who are they? Prithvi, the earth, Vayu, air, Akasha, Apaha, Jala, Agni, the moon, the sun, then Kapotaha, pigeons, birds, Kapotaha, they then Ajagaraha, Ajagara is a python, the snake python, Ajagar, Sindhu, Sindhu means Sagaram, Sindhu means sea, ocean, Sindhu, then the Patango, Patanga means the moth, butterfly and moth, and moth, Madhu Krdajaha, the bee, and then the Krdajaha is elephant, honey bee and elephant, then Madhuha Harino, the honey gatherer, the one who takes the honey, Madhuha Harino. Haran, he has already told that it's not the taker, the one who steals the Madhu. Madhuha Harino. Then the Meenaha, deer. Pingalaha, the fish. So Meenaha, fish. Then Harina is the deer, and Meena is the mean fish. Pingala is the courtesan of Pingala, and Kuraro Armakaha, what is that? That osprey. Then the Kumari, the child. Then the maiden. Then the Sharakrit, the one who is a arrow maker, the one who makes the arrows. How much perfection should be there in an arrow? That's what it is now. It's not a small thing. So arrow maker, then Sarpa, the snake, then Urnanabhi, the spider, Urnanabhi, then the Supe Shakrat, the particular insect known as Brahmara Krita, the Brahmara, the one who can, very powerful with this one, they drill holes in the body, mind. Brahmara. Brahmar means Brahma. The Brahmara, the one who drinks the honey, the black thing with the this, and with this Brahman is that Karna's leg was pierced through by the Brahma and then gone through it. What do you call it? It's also like Brahma. It has been told as Brahma because when it is flying, that sound will be there. Huh? That is Hindi, no? Okay. Mahavra, what is it? Anyway, you understood what it is. The one who is always humming while flying, and then it's a black thing, it's a fearful thing to see, huge. And when it sits, you can, it will really drill. So Brahmana, Kitaha, these are all from these people I have learned many things. We should learn. These are all from the nature. You see, now we can imagine what he has learned from, and this is how it is. Now he goes on saying what others. Like this, O king, are the 24 are the teachers. I have resorted to the characteristics or traits of these I have gathered in all my lessons. Now he explains what are those 24. We'll pass through. He says, Yato, the king, O grandson of Nahusha, he is telling the Yadu, grandson of Nahusha, I am going to relate to you which lessons I have learned from whom and how. Listen. Bhutau ragramyamano abhidiro. Bhutau, Bhumi, from Bhumi, what I have learnt. The man of steady intellect should not, even though oppressed by creatures that are themselves under the sway of destiny, swerve from his path, being conversant with his fact. This is the trait I have learnt from the earth. We have told all the forbearing capacity the earth has got. That's why Mata we called as mother. Mother who should have all the Kshama for the children. Mother is the only one who does not punish a child even for the biggest crime he has done. The only court that can pardon the greatest sinner in this world is only Matra Hridayam. No one else will give him pardon. No. But in the Matra Hridayam, in the court of mother's heart, always there is a pardon for a child. There is a pardon. Mata, that's why the Bhumi has been related with the mother, because the greatest Kshama that has got. So many things are loaded on that. So many atrocities are being done on the earth, is it not? Papaloka they even called. Even Bhumi has to listen to, even though Bhumi was created as one of the Panchabhutas in order to give shelter to the Jivatmas, in order to experience their karmas, and so it is known as in Bhagavad Gita, it was told as Karma Bhumi. He has provided freely a Karma Bhumi on which you can execute your karmas. You execute your karmas means you are exhausting your Papa karmas on the Bhumi. And Bhumi is ready to take that Papa from you, from so many Jivatmas, and make you transform, transmigrate, and get moksha and mukti. Bhumi provides all the facilities for you to do that. And in order for you to have the facility, in the bhumi only there are trees, for that wind you will get, oxygen you will get. There only the water flows, the rivers are flowing. Space for the rivers flowing, that has been provided. The earth has been considerate to provide that for you. Earth has been given everything for you. So from that, and then without any complaint. So he says, Bhagavan, akamyamano api, without any expectation of karma. There is no karma, there is no expectation that, oh, this man, I have given him 10 acres of land or 300 acres of land, he will be more considerate on me. No, he will dig up and he will hurt, and not only that, he will make the tallest building so that the weight is so much on the bhumi. He will do krishi on that, whatever, just telling for the sake of it. What happened? It is not that he will be considerate, he will not even do bhumi puja even, but he will do all sorts of atrocities on that. So there is no expectation. I'm just telling all these things. There is no, without an expectation, the bhumi provides everything steadily, whatever may be the action that is being taken by the other in order to live there. The absolute forbearance capacity, with an absolute forbearance capacity and without any expectation, the bhumi, day and night, number of years, without any complaint or without any problems, they shelter you. From that, I have learned to have dhiro, devashanurahu. I learned the dhairyam. Dhira means, not dhairya means not the courage, dhirata. Dhirata means to bear anything and everything, that capacity to hold on, whatever happens, I will be steady like the bhumi. So I learned that lesson from me. Is one teacher. Then he said, Shashwat Parartha Sarveya Pararthe Gandha Sambhava Sadhu Chichena Bhu Brito Nagashishya Paratmata. The good man should learn from the one are there on the earth. They have also provided the hills and rivers, as I told you, trees and everything. Learn from the hill. Now, second teacher is hill. Hill, how one should always be direct one entire actions to the good of others, and one's very birth should be absolutely for the sake of others. Avaduta explaining the king Yadu. One should be like a mountain, cannot move, and providing always what is necessary for the others. While a disciple of trees, he should learn how to be at the disposal of others. We know, we have already discussed about trees, I think, many occasions, how selfless activity is done by a tree. Giving shelter, giving fruits, giving flowers, giving seeds so that you can again grow them. All that is done not for the benefit of tree at all. It is only meant for the others. So like that, living for one wants, even people throw stones on them, and in order to get the fruit. Even a person who picks the fruit from there, the tree gives the fruit. One climbs on the tree and slowly, without hurting, they take the fruit. For him also, the tree gives the fruit. And the child who is standing at the down and throw a stone and make the fruit fall also gives the fruit to them. Immaterial. Even with a hurt on them, by throwing the stones, pelting them, naturally it hurts. Even if I get hurt, the fruit that I have created is meant for you, you take it. Is that what tree does? That I have learnt from the tree, is what Avadhuta says that. Let it happen. It is the Prakriti, it is a child, or it is somebody who cannot climb up and pick the fruit, but they want to have a fruit, they throw stones and it hit on me. It was not with an intention of hurting me they have thrown, but while throwing I got hurt. Doesn't matter. Give them the fruit. Was the lesson I have learned from that. Is we have to go through it. That only. It's very interesting actually. So beautiful it is now. With all the pains and aches, and that's called the Tyagam. So the Tyaga Buddhi I have learned from them. What all I can give, what all you want, take. My branches, my leaves, so many leaves are used for many things. My branches, my leaves, even at a point of time, I am ready to surrender myself. You cut me and make your furniture and doors and windows. I have no problem. I am meant for that. Take it. I have no problem. Because it is not me I am born for. It is for you I am born for. So take it. The human is like, should be a sannyasi is meant for that. So is what I have learned from the tree, he says. Then he says, Pranam Vrityaiva Sadushe and Munine Vidya Priyai Jnanam Yatha Nanashyeta Navakiryata Vangmana. The sage, the sannyasi, should be satisfied with merely ministering. Is that? Just as the pranavayu merely requires the food in order to sustain the body. So the yogi also must eat only, that means santushye and manunyavyate. Should only eat little. So alpa bhakshanam. The vital functions not with the things pleasing the senses, so that the knowledge may not be destroyed and the mind and speech frittered away. You should utilize, the sage should be merely satisfied with merely ministering the vital action, vital functions. Like the prana to be there. There are certain basic necessities, certain food is required. The food has to be taken, but to that limit. And the breathing has to be done, exercise has to be done, and this has to be done, that, everything for the purpose of living. That all should be done within that permissible limits. Vital functions, Nashyate Navagete Vangman, so that it doesn't destroy Nashyate Navakiryata Vangmanaha, so that those should be kept in such a way that pleasing with the things pleasing the senses. The senses should function not for the sensual pleasures, but the senses should function. The senses are there, senses are necessary. Senses should function for the purpose of knowledge, for the purpose of jnanam, so that it may not be destroyed by the mind and speech. Because the mana and the vani, naturally mind is connected with the mind and vani, speech frittered away. They can twist and turn. No? So you should not give agitations to the mana. You should not give agitations to the mana. Ahara is one of the ingredients that has been told the behavior of the mana. There is a proverb, Hindi, they used to tell, Jaise ahar, vaisa man. Jaise ahar, vaisa man. There is a saying. The way you eat, the mind also will function. If you eat agitated food, the mind also can be agitated. But that alone.
जैसा खाएं वैसा हुए मन.
Acha, okay. I think that is a better way of. I do not know this language, so I do not. That's very nice. Thank you. So, but that is not alone again. Now, I have always objected to certain level to this. It's my own opinion. To this sentence alone. So one should not totally believe in it. Many people, what happens, they think that alone is the one which is controlling the mana. So, Satvika Ahara. I have told about this earlier also. Satvika Ahara, it doesn't mean that without onions or without this, without that, without this, without that, is not Satvika Ahara. Ahara should be Satvika, Sat. That means that which should not disturb me in identifying the truth is Satvika Ahara. An Ahara that is necessary for my body and mana is called Satvika Ahara. The one who is a laborer who is working on the field, no, he cannot detoxify and then drink only the what is that? That's not possible, no? Then he will become a toxin in the field. No, that's not possible. He has to eat because he needs strength. For him, the Satvika Ahara is that. For a Vyapari, Satvika Ahara is something. Raja, Rajabhoga. For Raja, the food should be totally separate. Raja should have certain qualities. So, Sato, Rajo and Tamo. Okay. In all the qualities, these kind of food is necessary. The food should be, ultimately what I am coming to. Don't get stuck by these words is what I may be wrong sometimes, but what I have analyzed it. I have analyzed it long, Then only I am sharing with you. You can also contemplate on that and tell me if you find something where I have to correct or something to improve upon. Satvika Ahara, there's a misunderstanding in many houses because simply told Satvika Ahara. So you ask him, oh, I am a Satvika, I do not touch what is that? Garlic, onion, and this, that, and all that. Garlic is a medicine. Garlic you have to take because the gaseous food that you are taking, or not only the food may be perfect. Okay. धन खेत से लाया, अपने हाथों से उसको धोया, उसके हाथों से अपना सुखाया और उसको अपने जो ग्राइंडिंग मिल में उसको फिर दान बनाया और अपने हाथों से उसको अपने कंटेनर में डाल के स्टोर करके रखा, अपने हाथों से पकाया और अपने हाथों से खाया, तो भी गैस्ट्रिक हो सकता है कि नहीं? The gastric के लिए, the problem के लिए, toxin के लिए, there are variants. It is not only the food alone. It has got so many other ingredients involved in it. First of all, water is there, and the environment is there, and the man who is cooking and making all these things, his mind and negativity is involved in that. अच्छा, उसके बाद, then while eating, if the person is worried, उसके मन में अगर expectations है, or if you have got desires, or if he has got disappointments, or he has got anger, or any emotions which are functioning in them, with that if they eat, again it will become a problem, then he has to eat garlic. So, at that time, garlic is a Satvika Ahara. Fine. Now, man who is eating too much of garlic, that is what is meant. For anything, morning, afternoon, evening, har khane mein, everything there are who eats own lot of garlic. The body gets heated up. The intestines get heated up, because it's necessary for keeping up the heat, I think, for digesting and for many other flow of blood and removing the abdominal gastric problems and things like that. It's highly medical. So ahara should be taken as medicine, aushadhi. Otherwise, and any ahara that is necessary for the body should be taken is why this annam has been created in the world. Otherwise, there should not have been created. The nature, prakriti, is not like you and me. Prakriti knows what is necessary that for the people in the world. So X, Y, Z is necessary and it is necessary. Including poison is necessary. Visham is necessary. In order to remove Visham, Visham is necessary. Cancer ka dawai is only Visham. Leprosy is treated with snake venom. Pure snake venom extracted from the, with the syringe, they extract the venom from the venom veins of the cobra. That is injected in them straight. Is a medicine. Straight snake venom. Poison is necessary. Satvika ahara for them. But snake venom, there are people who are using snake venom for the purpose of intoxication also. Now that is tamasic. Satvik nahi. So satvik is that. Now you understand why I said all that thing. Baki अच्छी चीजों का तो I don't have to explain you. The bad thing only I have to tell them. Good things are, of course, we know it is necessary. Okay, दूध पीना या ghee or things like that is all necessary. Okay, fine. But everything adhikasya amardam visham. Anything that is too much is visham. Also has been told on one side. Adhikasya amardam visham. And on the other side, Satvika Ahara has been told. Satvika Ahara is that which should be digested by a person. It should be easily digestible. And it should be necessary for that particular trade that he is doing. Tomorrow I am going to work in the garden. So morning I should have a very good breakfast so that I don't get tired. And in between I should drink chas or some sort of such drinks so that my dehydration should not take place in my body. Only water will not be sufficient. That get exhausted very fast. So you should drink that. The green tea, tea will keep you from dehydration, away from dehydration. I know because when I was working in the furnaces and things like that, we used to have tea liquor, she used to make and keep in the fridge, so many bottles. So I used to carry also with me to the plant. Tea with lemon. No, you should never drink water when you're working in the heat. Why? Because the water that is in the intestines that goes, the policy I learned only from my work, of course, and it's true. You drink water because you will feel thirsty. You drink so much of one bottle of water and all you will drink you work in the kitchen, you come out how it is with that temperature, and I am talking about 1300 degrees centigrade facing that. This is the temperature. The moment you go and stand there, I am not exaggerating, you can feel the water inside is boiling in the stomach because it's only so much of distance, it gets heated, the whole body will fall sick. That's all. You should never drink water in facing the temperature. So they say you should drink all these things, then only say. I'm not exaggerating, it's my experience. That is Satvika Ahara. That which is necessary for the purpose of your job, your work, that should become the Satvika Ahara. It should be diet, ultimately concluding all that. I told all these things because depending on situations and circumstances, one should have one. But that doesn't mean that when I am not working in that place and I keep drink 10 bottles of, one day we used to drink 6 bottles, 10 bottles of tea, so much because you get dehydrated otherwise. But when you are out of it, you cannot drink. Then it will be tamasic food then for you. You will fall in, then otherwise, see, that should not be taken. So, ultimately concluding what is Satvika Ahara, that which is digestible, which doesn't cause toxins in the body, which causes benefits to the body, is called the Satvika Ahara. Any ahara that is provided in this universe is not bad at all. I tell you, if that is Satvika Ahara, Japanese and Chinese, a great section of Chinese, they are all like our Upanishad and Vedic science. They have also learned quite a lot of this spiritual activities they have. And जैसे आहार वैसा मन बोलते हैं, अगर ऐसा होने से The Japanese are most patient. I mean, not everyone. I mean, generally there's a saying, no. Japanese are very patient people, very soft spoken. Even the housewives, they are the maximum housewives are there in this world only in Japan and in India and China, I think mostly. These are the places. Nowhere else. They're all different. They can sustain this. No? So most patient people. And I was told, or I have read and I was told by a person who knows about it. In fact, I have been questioned by one of my disciples. Guruji, you used to tell that, look, such food which creates a lot of toxins and should not be eaten, so one may get, that mental temperament would not be good satvika ahara and all that. I used to tell in Reiki classes, but not to the details to this extent. So she asked me, she was learning at those days. Now she is there in, where it is? Scotland. Now she is in Scotland. So she was studying there in Japan for some graduation or higher graduations. At that 2 years she was there. So she went to this that Yodoshishuwa University, and then Mikao Usui's temple, and where the Reiki is inscribed on the walls. Everything she has seen. Take photograph. I got the photograph of that place, the temple. Everything is there. And then on that process, she also, because she has followed my teachings, so she said that, look, the Japanese eat horse meat, the tough meat. Horse meat is very tough. The toughest meat, they all eat horse meat, or most of them they eat. And she says, many of my colleagues, they eat horse meat every day, and you won't believe, I find them the most well-behaved spoken persons. What is this contradiction? I said, there is no contradiction here. There is no contradiction here, I said. Because she thought, like everyone thought, Satvika Ahara. I said, look, there's a big questionnaire from her. I have got that typed out and kept. Very nice. No, she intelligently asked me this question so that I could also explain and learn from that. No? I said, nothing wrong in having, you see. So long the person is, that's what I said, it should be digestible. It also comparative with the work that person is doing, so that it can be easily digested. In Siberia, if you ask somebody to eat only brinjals and bindi, he will not be able to survive. At that Siberia, minus frozen temperature, he has to eat meat. There is no other way to generate heat. There is no other way. What all pulses do you eat? And no, first of all, nothing is grown there. Because of the snow, now you will get nothing. You have to eat these things only. There is nothing wrong. Now, these things has to be understood. Now, people say, in Siberia, they are eating cow, so I can eat cow here in 40-degree temperature in Calcutta. You see? This is where it is mistaken, you see. This heat, where it is not necessary, and it will spoil the meat actually, It is not there, but in the frozen conditions it is different. So, these are things. So, horse meat, I said, look, basically what is that? Everything ultimately comes to the mind. If a person is able to control the mind, if a person is able to practice meditation and calm the mind, and if he is able to, he is in a position to digest the food, any food that is taken to him, there is nothing wrong in whatever he eats. Have you seen the serial that Lord Shiva's, what is it? Mahadev. In his marriage, Bhagwan's marriage, he goes to Bahu's house, eats the whole kitchen, which was prepared for thousands of people and digested. I'm just telling an example, so not that. He could digest it. Why? Again, the mind. And after that, did he fight? After that, did he get intoxicated? Did he faint? Did he do that? Indigestion was there? Nothing. He said, still my Shuddha is not satisfied. Come name why. Then what happened? Dissatisfaction, mind wanting that. Then what happened? With the satisfaction, Mata gave one small roll of rice or whatever, food. He says, I am too full. He said, you know, look, just, they're all stories. I do understand. Nobody can eat so much. But these are satisfaction again. That mind, see, with one small ball of rice, our hunger is gone. You see, mind is absolutely accepted. There is no hunger. If the mind says, then only there is hunger. If it is not there, it is not hunger. So mind should be in a position to digest the food. That's why they always say that eat if you want. Don't eat with a guilt. Even if you eat good things with a guilt, then you have a problem. Even if you eat let me say bad, okay. Even though there's nothing bad. Without any guilt, it's no problem. It's okay. So many people smoke, drink. With the guilt, most of them will do it with the guilt. Because that is there in the mind, you know. We have been brought up like that from childhood. Sharab pina kharab hai. Smoking karna kharab hai. But invariably, mind mein hai, it's not good, it's not good. Shh, shh, it's not good. Shh, it's not good. Shh, it's not good. We others will tell only once it's not good. Smoking is not good. But the smoker tells 10 times for each puff. This has to tell it, it's not good. It's not good. Guilt. So, man, this is called man jaisa. So it should be revised in our understanding. Those days, it was difficult to make people understand. It is the mind that is important, that you should be able to digest. So, easy way of making the people who are not that much of literate and all that, you should have a control on your food. Otherwise, it's not sattvic. Bhagwan ki kop hoga. You're not supposed to go to temple after eating full meal. You have to go with empty stomach. What is that reason? If suppose you eat something, will it be bad? Not at all bad. What happens? One eats too much and then go to the temple. Naturally your concentration will not be there. You will try to sleep only the moment you close your eyes, because so much of has been eaten. अच्छा सा सर्विंग किया है, उसमें ये भी है, 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 ये भी है. After that भगवान को देखिएगा कि सोएगा. मंदिर में जाओ तो नींद आएगा. So you are not supposed to eat. You will be alert. So भूख नहीं होना चाहिए. That's why empty stomach in the sense, reasonably it should not be full stomach. That's very reasonable. So everywhere that limit has to be known. Nahi pata hai. So that is where all we started all that with from here. Alpaharam. Alpaharam. Yogi needs only alpaharam. First of all, his physical exertion is very less. And also, his satisfaction is great. He doesn't have necessity of he understands the consciously understands the sharira and mana. In fact, doesn't accept the sharira. And he is aware of everything. His requirements are less. His desire is less naturally. What happens? His requirement of food is also accordingly less. Only for the purpose of the physical body should sustain itself. Because in order to do certain karmas, this physical body is necessary. In that, the prana has to be there. It is necessary. So prana should be there. See, if you don't drink water and if you don't little bit of eating, prana will not be there. Then वही हो इनके यहाँ होता है ना वो संतारा, वही होगा फिर. संतार आप करना पड़ेगा. Without water, without food, we'll go to whether go to Bhagwan or not, I don't know, but we'll go. So without eating is also not good. That's also not right. You have been given a body, your responsibility is that till the prana is there, till your karma is over, the prana is there, you have to take care of it. Otherwise, it's an insult. You cannot commit a suicide. That is why it is identified as suicide. Today, government has banned it. One can't do it. See. Even the regulators, rules and regulations can obstruct you. You can even be arrested trying to commit suicide. That can be done. So one should not do it. Why? Because the principle being, the body has been taken by you, you have done it, in order to execute your karmas and exhaust them. Whatever it may be, you have to execute your karmas and exhaust them the way it is necessary. For that purpose, you have been given the facility of the brain and the mana and the indriyas and the intellect and the sensory system and everything has been provided to you. With this, you are supposed to earn the jnanam, and through that jnanam and through that intellect and through the sensory system and through the indriyas, the shendriyas, you are supposed to modify and whatever is to be introduced, you should introduce to yourself and exhaust the karmas, utilizing the body and prana, and then let it go. When the time comes, everything has to go. Prana has to go, Sharira has to go. Prana goes means Sharira goes, of course. Sharira is not important. Sharira is only that, a cover. So the prana has to go at that time. You cannot force the prana to go. It's not right. See? Even in samadhi of great tapasvis and jnanis, after attainment of the jnanam and after attainment of so many things and after living for so many years and doing all that what is necessary for the universe, and he accepts the swecha mrityu. Swecha mrityu. Mrityu, he goes into samadhi. In samadhi, he attaining the consciousness and become one with the consciousness, leaving aside the body. He is not forcefully taking away the prana. It is not that. You see. Here, there it is totally different. But where people who does it, that's why attempting or doing suicide is considered to be a crime. Even today by law, it's a crime that you don't have the authority even to kill yourself. You see. Is the reason why it is done. Okay. Anyway, we have told that. So the principle being Satvika Ahara, Alpa Aharam, we started the Mahayogis, Mahatapasvis, for them Alpa Aharam. Aharam is very little, is good enough. Stomach is full. The necessity for the prana to be in the body, that much is good. That much of heat generated by the body. What is that? Prana to be in the body. That means, do you think that the consumption of food is directly going to the prana? No. Prana doesn't require food. Again, please don't miss again. Suddenly it struck me that where I am going. Prana doesn't require food. Prana is prana, that will be whether you eat or don't eat, the prana is same. Because that is not created by you. It is from the Prakriti. It is from the Purusha, from the Prakriti, that Atma, that provides the prana. That means prana is Atma, nothing other than that. And it has been divided as energy, that's all. So that energy will not get reduced by not eating or something like that. The prana will be there, but the prana will not be active in the body. Why? Because the body should have certain capacity and certain temperature in order to hold that prana in the physical system for making it to function. So unless that is there, the prana cannot sustain that. The body should have a particular temperature. then only the blood flow will be there, prana will be there. If it reduces, the prana will be reduced. It will not be there. Prana flow will not be there. The prana will leave at one point of time. So so that is why they say, in order to प्राण रखने के लिए थोड़ा सा खाना पड़ता है ना, something like that they say, no, नहीं बोलता है ना. So something like that. So प्राण के लिए, that means it's not that directly consumed by the prana, but for the prana to be facilitating, to be dwelling inside this body, the body has to have certain parameters and paraphernalias, then only the prana can be remaining there. To that extent, body should be taken care. That is why ahara should be taken as aushadhi. In fact, ahara is aushadhi only, nothing other than that. What is not? Is it not? One has got fat, one has got starch, one has got this, calcium, one has got this one and that chemical, this chemical. Aushadhi hua hai na. Ahara is aushadhi. So aushadhi should be taken to that limit only. You cannot take medicines too much, you see. So aushadhi is taken to that limit and aushadhi should be taken. Both are there. Okay. So alpaharam. So that's why the sage. So the vital functions. So when that is there, then the senses and the knowledge and will not be destroyed. A hungry person will not have any dharma in him. He will only want somehow or other I must eat. That's all. Can he able to maintain the dharma? No. So, what he has to have? He has to have the basic necessity of the body being in the calm and status position. In a sannyasi it is very easy, but for an ordinary person it's not easy for him, because he has to do certain other functions like kartavyas are there. Those kartavyas have to be there, functioned. So according to that he has to eat. It is necessary. But he should also be sattvic. It should be digestible to him. It should, if it is undigested food, it will create toxin. Let it be the highest quality of food. If it is not digested, it turns out to be toxic inside us, is it not? So it should be digestible. That which can be digested by you, that which can be beneficial for digestion means what? That which can be beneficial for you. Oh, I can eat about 200 nails. Some people are eating, no? And, 10 window panes. I'm not talking about that. That's a different section. So that is, don't think that because, you only told that tomorrow onwards I will eat nail. You said it satsanga. आप ही तो बताया. Don't tell me this. So, भाई बहुत careful रहना पड़ता है आजकल. You have to clarify everything. Shiva, Shiva, Shiva. So the yogi, the yogi moving amid sense objects possessed of diverse characters should not be attached to them, keeping his mind absolutely free from their virtues, shortcomings, like the wind. Now what he has learned from the wind is the next one. Now we are talking about the 24 teachers. So he has learned from the earth, from the vital force is the Agni, next is the Vayu. From Vayu, that the vital force is Agni, this is Vayu. Vayu is that Vishayeshva Vishan Yogi Nana Dharmeshu Sarvata Guna Dosha Vyate Tapta Navishajeta Vayuvat. Like the Vayu. I told this, of course, I think recently only we discussed about it. When the wind is blowing, whether it is fragrant or it has got foul smell, it is not attracted to any of those things. Wind keeps on blowing, carrying them. That smell or the fragrance, carrying them for some time. It keeps on flowing. The characteristics of that fragrance of your perfume or the garbage, the smell of the garbage, doesn't belong the capacity or the inherent quality of the wind. It is there only for some time. That's all. It keeps on blowing with that. The wind never get attracted or attached to whether the good or dosha, guna. So many things happening. Don't get attached to it, they say. Many things are happening. Like that, in my classes I used to tell so many stories about it. Even small stories we used to tell. So many stories now. That mother sends a boy. I always tell this story because my mother used to send me to the shop. So I remember that. So I took myself as an example. We have small shops nearby. So hey, go and get this, something like that. So we are small. We like to go. So you are spent with give the money, and you are supposed to go and get that something. Particular whatever it is, X, Y, Z. On the way, she will also tell, while giving money and sending you, उधर इधर खड़ा नहीं होने का है, उधर वो सब बहुत कुछ होता होगा. You fellow, you will be standing around there and then forget about this and come back there. I didn't buy it. Exactly that happens. What is that? Getting attached and attracted to. Whatever purpose you are going, you go and get it. In the process, the roadside shows you enjoy, no problem. You enjoy, see them, enjoy, but go get it and come back. In the process, you might be seeing so many things, doesn't matter. But don't get stuck by that. Wind is that. So from the wind, we have to learn. Wind keeps on blowing, and the same quality of wind. Whether today in the era of 22nd century or 21st century, even though it's highly polluted, the wind is blowing. The wind was blowing even in BC 208 also is the same quality. Those which are added to that is not the quality of the wind. It carries it for some time and then leave it somewhere else. If the mountains are there in between, it will deposit it there and then again it will flow there. That's all. It doesn't become the character of the wind. You, a yogi, should be like that, is what I have learned from the wind, is what he's telling them. It's beautifully done. So, we also should learn that look. Around us there may be thousands of characters, thousands of people. We are yogis. We should be yogis. We need not to get attached and attracted to it. We can't avoid them. Suppose somebody is talking to you, you cannot say, I am a yogi. So, अच्छा तुम बोलो जो बोलने का है. I can't say that. No. We have to listen. So maybe nonsense is okay. Take the earplugs out. अच्छा ठीक है. Don't get attached. Around us there are so many people. So many characters. Not only here, many places, many working place, or wherever you public places, or wherever you go when you travel, or many things, we may get so many people. They are all separate. Don't get attached or attracted to it. Be yourself. Is a true yogi. Yujyate yoga. That within your Atma is the only pure, great, the friend and companion, God, everything for you. Only be attached to that. Listen to all. Like in the shop, I go and stand nearby and look at the place around for a while. Enjoy it, no problem. But don't forget that you are that. And come back to that originality. Come back to the real. That is the truth of you. That is your true nature, true friend, true support, true strength, true God. Is that your Atma? Others are there, fine. There are people who are helping, take them with you, no problem. But there are people who will not, who will go against them. Don't get attached to it. Just avoid it, that's all. We cannot fight with everyone. And we don't have to, because we have no time for that. We have to have the mukti. we have to have jnanam, we have to have bhakti. We don't have time for all those unwanted things. Neglect that, ignore that. Yes, don't get attached and attracted. Yes. Certain things you enjoy, certain things you don't enjoy. But be with that is what that we learn from the wind, is what Yogi told the Yadu. Hey Bhagavan, hey Rajan, this is what I have learned from the wind. So let us learn from the wind. The next one is, we'll tell you, next class. The next guna is, next shloka is 41, 241. Chapter 2, 41 shloka. We will take 41. 40 I have completed now. Next will be Akasha.